Hey everyone, welcome back to Straight Talk with Dr. Erik, where we talk to caregivers and everyone all things dementia. Let me ask you a question. Are you a caregiver or are you a person living with dementia and you get all these phone calls that tell you, oh my God, you have to switch from this Medicare plan to the other Medicare plan, and all the time you're thinking, well, which is the right plan for me? Well, today you don't have to think no more about that. Why? Because we have an incredible guest, Juliana Souza, who's from Coastal Healthcare Group. This is what she does. She understands every single piece of that transaction, and you don't want to miss this episode. Juliana, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So listen, before we dive into such an important topic, because as you know, once you switch from one plan to another, to switch back, there's all these regulations, all this bureaucracy, and you're going to help folks understand that today. Right. Mm-hmm. But before we go into that, I think the people want to know, well, Dr. Erik, you have someone on your show. Who is this Juliana? What's her background, right? Where is she from? How did she get to this point of helping people understand this?
Well, I was a dental hygienist for over 15 years. I had a really bad neck. And I really wanted to be a mom, and I had young kids. And one day, my neighbor walking the dog, he comes to me and gave me a Christmas present of a 215 insurance license book. And he's like,
How is that a Christmas present?
Yeah, it was a Christmas present.
Of 215 insurance
book. Remember the old big book?
So you're not that hard to please on holidays with gifts. No,
he gave it to me for Christmas. And he's like, go be independent and go make money. That's what he told me.
Okay.
And I thought he was crazy at the time. Well, a year later, my neck pains was like really bad. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should do this insurance thing on a part-time. And then we had COVID, right? And then COVID is like, you know what? It's now or never. And I kind of explored my, into life insurance or health insurance. And I found myself into Medicare. And I liked Medicare because Medicare is just more educational. It's like educating really someone with all of the carriers, all the A's and the B's and the C's, and really understanding all of the parts.
It's very complicated,
yes,
Juliana.
But once you educate something, I didn't feel like it's a sales job. I felt like it's okay. I can educate someone and they can make their decision based on the information I give them. I don't think like I have to like if you're trying to sell life insurance, you have to, you need this, you need that. I can't be that type of person. So I just felt like I can do Medicare, and here I am.
That's very, very interesting. You actually, Juliana hit on something very interesting, which is, what is sales, right? Sales is uncovering and satisfying a customer need. Right. Uncovering and satisfying a customer need.
Right.
So to talk about that, you at Coastal Healthcare Group, you started your own company. What is the mission of this company, and how are you uncovering and satisfying customer needs?
Well, the mission is really to educate you with all the options of Medicare, so that you really know what you're getting into. Because yes, if you make the wrong decision, you're going to be stuck.
Tell me about that. When you say I'm going to be stuck, let's say I have a grandmother, right? God bless her, 93 years old. And she's on traditional Medicare.
Right.
Now she's getting phone calls all day long from different people saying, you need to switch. You're going to get a card. You're going to get a gift card. You're going to get this.
Yes.
How is that working? How is that even legal? Can you explain that to me? Some people listening.
So, when you're turning 65 and you have the option of, all the options are available for you. Everything is guaranteed when you're 65. It doesn't matter what your health looks like. You have your traditional Medicare route, which is what, federally run Medicare. Now there's also an option called Medicare Advantage plan. And people think that Medicare Advantage plan is actually just another Medicare. A lot of people think Medicare Advantage plan is their secondary plan.
I love the way they named it.
Right.
Medicare Advantage. So when I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's an advantage, perhaps.
Yeah, so what it is, it's a replacement plan.
Okay.
So you're actually choosing a private company to be your Medicare provider and exchanging it from the federally run Medicare system. So
why would anybody do that? Why would Medicare want there to be an advantage plan? Why doesn't it just do everything itself?
Well, they're giving it an option because Medicare Advantage plan, a lot of time there's no monthly premium for a Medicare Advantage plan. So you have all these call centers calling seniors all day long. Why? Because they're offering them a free product. you can sign up. Why are you paying, Juliana, for your supplement plan $200-$300 a month if you can have a Medicare Advantage plan at no cost? And guess what? We're going to give you dental. We're going to give you vision. And we're going to give you little Visa cards for food. And we give you a gym membership.
So that's very, very interesting.
Yes.
So for the folks listening, can you then break down to us, because we brought you in here, and the reason I like working with Juliana, when people call us and they say, we don't know, we want to switch, should we switch? Like, I know I can trust Juliana because Juliana told me once in the beginning, Dr. Erik, I'm not going to switch anybody from one thing to the other unless I hear their story and I understand what are the consequences and the benefits of them switching from one to the other. So help us understand, you've got Medicare, you've got Medicare Advantage plans.
Right.
Why would one want to stay on traditional Medicare? Why would one want to go on a Medicare Advantage plan? Why?
Well, traditional Medicare, it's your Medicare A, which is hospital coverage, Medicare Part B, which is your doctor's coverage. You're adding a supplement, which you have to pay. Supplement and Medigap plan are the same.
So you're saying if I have traditional Medicare,
You're paying for a supplement and a Medigap.
I have to have a supplement.
Yes.
And if I don't have Medicaid,
Right.
then if I don't have that, then I have to pay for a supplement. That's a 20%?
Yes, because A and B covers 80% of the bill. So you are responsible for 20% with no limits.
So it's either me personally responsible or a supplement that I have to buy.
A policy of a supplement that you have to buy, and there's different levels, right? Or if you have Medicaid, you have the state, right, helping you to pay for those 20%. Or you can replace that. I mean, when you have original traditional Medicare, you can go to any doctor that takes Medicare in the country. There is like no network like limitation. So it's much better of a quality, a plan.
So you're saying, just to keep it straight for everyone, because I'm learning this a lot too. So there's traditional Medicare. With traditional Medicare, the benefits are that you could go to any doctor who accepts traditional Medicare.
Yes.
All right. What other benefits are there to stay with traditional Medicare?
I mean, traditional Medicare, there is no, let's say, referrals. You don't need referrals to go see specialists.
So that means, okay, so if I want to go see this cardiologist and he accepts it, I don't need a referral. I can just go. I want to go to him. I like him. I want to go.
Yes. You can just go online, search the doctor you want to see, call him. Do you take Medicare? Yes, you can go with your traditional Medicare. Anywhere. Like if you live half the year in Florida, half the year somewhere else, that's the plan for you. You can go anywhere. There is a cost to a Medicare supplement Medigap plan. And this is the reason why a lot of people tend to avoid that cost, okay? And your cost is based on the zip code where you live. So some people choose this Medicare Advantage plan, which is, there's a lot of advertising on those Medicare Advantage plans.
Huge. Every time on a billboard, on a radio, I see it.
Commercials, mailers. I mean, people calling you all day for you to replace your original Medicare with a private company. The moment you choose a Medicare Advantage plan and you choose that one company, you have to follow that company's guidelines, their doctors, their hospital network, and they're going to deal with their referrals, their prior authorizations for treatment.
So not to interrupt you, again, for the folks listening, you're getting incredible information here from a person who knows this and lives this. So traditional Medicare, you could go to any doctor you want.
Yes.
You can go to any specialist that you want as long as they accept Medicare. You typically don't need pre-authorizations. Now, but there is a kind of downside where if you have that 20%, you either pay it yourself or you need a supplement plan that you have to buy. So what is the range? If someone's like, look, okay, I like traditional Medicare and I'm going to need a supplement. Walk me through that world of supplements. How much is it? What's the range? What's the game like in that world?
Okay, so right now you have your most popular is your supplement plan G. G pretty much pays all of the other 20% except for the Part B deductible, which right now in 2026 is $283. So, I mean, plan G cost really varies depending on where you live and
Give
your
me
zip
a
code.
range.
Let's say like for South Florida, you're looking around $300, $350 for a supplement G.
So you're saying to me, like, if I have a grandma and she has traditional Medicare, I want her to not have a headache of having to see does the doctor accept or doesn't accept the
Right.
insurance. I don't want the pre-authorization for that MRI that's needed
Right.
tomorrow and I need to wait a week.
Right.
But I do have that 20%. If I want to protect myself against that 20%,
Right.
I can go with something like that supplement around 300 plus or minus, depending on where
Right.
you live.
Right, exactly. Now, if you're in different states, like if you're in North Carolina, for example, the same Plan G can cost you just $150, $200.
So it's
really,
geographically
dependent, right?
Understood. So that is the world of then traditional Medicare. Now, walk me through the Medicare Advantage world.
Well, the Medicare Advantage world, is also based on your zip code. And you usually, when I type in a zip code, I'm going to ask you for your doctors, your medications, and I need to find from a list of usually 20 plans. Let's say for South Florida, other locations, there's only like maybe 4 or 5 plans available. But it's a replacement. You're choosing a private company, and it's going to be like HMO and PPO plans to choose from.
What does that mean, that I am choosing a private company?
Yes, you're literally saying you're choosing, instead of having, the government federal program of Medicare, you're choosing a private company.
So when I think about a private company, I'm thinking about, and again, I don't go one way or the other. I'm not saying go with traditional or go with Medicare Advantage or that, right? Everyone has a specific story. You know what's best for you. You have your own monthly expenses and budget.
Right.
But the way I think about it, when I think about private company, I'm thinking about Apple, I'm thinking about Google, I'm thinking about companies that need to have a profit.
Right, exactly.
Whereas Medicare, I'm thinking about, we're kind of in the hole with the spending, but there's no real profit conversation there.
Exactly.
So when there is profit, and that's something for you guys to think about, when there's profit, then obviously the incentives are a little different. I'm not saying they're bad, but they're a little different.
Yes. So yes, there is a profit. So you're choosing based on your doctor's network. Now, if you have an extensive list of doctors, it's going to be really hard to find all your doctors in just one company. So if you're choosing a Medicare Advantage plan, you might have to give up some of your doctors and choose a different doctor that participates with one carrier. Because it's really, if you come with me like 2 or 3 doctors, sometimes I can find them in the same plan. But a lot of time you have a list of like you're seeing 5, 6 different doctors. The chance of all the doctors participate with that same one plan is very difficult. So you have to be very flexible in that nature already.
And Juliana, it reminds me, it's such an important thing you don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish, especially
when you're going to use
with
it the
your
most.
health. So my dad, he used to go to this cardiologist, and my dad at that time was about 49 or 50 years old. And he kept on saying, I have this problem, I have chest pain. Yeah, okay, he's doing stress tests, this one, that one. But it said, okay, you don't need anything. You're fine. It's just all in here. Then I took my dad to and shout out to Dr. Richard Schlafmitz, who's the chairman of medicine of St. Francis Hospital in New York and Long Island. He's a big G, as you'd call him, right? And he said, we got to cath you, man. You're on the brink of having a heart attack. You have unstable angina. And he accepted traditional Medicare in St. Francis Hospital.
Right.
If I would have continued with that one doctor who kept on telling my dad that it was in his head, I probably wouldn't have a dad today who's 72 years old.
Right.
So that decision, that freedom to be able to go to anyone I choose to accepts Medicare, to me, it's a quality. Now, if I can afford a $200-$300 monthly premium for a supplement, that's a premium for me to pay to have the freedom to do what I want. Another thing I'll share with you, like I'm talking about profit, right? So very often, if I am an insurance company, and I love insurance companies, but I like to keep it real from a world perspective.
Right.
And your dad needs an MRI.
Right.
Let's say that MRI costs $1,500.
Right.
Now, I don't know whether your dad really needs it or not, but the doctors thought it may be a good idea. That $1,500 is coming out of my pocket as an insurance company.
Right.
So I'm probably gonna want to make sure that it's really needed. So I'm going to say you need a pre-authorization. The pre-authorization is going to happen. Now it's going to come to doctor. Hey, doctor, how are you? You have 30 patients in your waiting room. Your staff is all overworked, and you have 99 faxes in today, one of which is, can you fill out this pre-authorization? How long do you think it's going to take to get that pre-authorization? Now, what if your dad really needed that MRI this week or this week?
Yes, and not only that, you might deal with the doctor fills it, the company denies it, and then you have to deal with an appeal. right? And sometimes they deny it again. Sometimes you have to appeal it the second time. When a client comes to me on a Advantage plan and they're appealing twice, I'm like, appeal 3 times. And if you appealed it 3 times and then they said no, then you're just going to have to pay out of pocket.
Yeah, I'd love to figure out, Ron, if you could take a look and see in ChatGPT or Claude and search it on your phone, what is the average time that a pre-authorization for an MRI or imaging in the healthcare space with a Medicare Advantage plan, how long does it on average take to get it approved? You know, it's actually interesting to know that data from the time that a doctor says you need it to the time that it's approved.
Right. Because sometimes it takes time. And sometimes you're in the hospital and you need to get into a rehab or a skilled nursing, which the fastest you get there, the better you're going to be. And then you're dealing with the appeal process waiting.
Yeah. So, I mean, for the audience listening, right, we are not saying that, and it may seem like it, but we're not, that, oh, you should go and switch from Medicare Advantage plan to Medicare or from Medicare to a Medicare Advantage plan. We're just saying that when that person calls you and tells you, hey, how are you? You should switch. We're going to give you a free gym membership. Understand that there are certain incentives behind that person themselves calling you, because for every person that they move from one plan to the other or one thing to the other, there's a financial benefit to that individual. So I don't want you to be that grandmother like my mom and dad who are that kind-hearted grandmother and think that Nick is calling them from the goodness of his heart to try to tell you what's good for you.
Yes.
You have to be the one who knows what's good for you. You have the answer for that, Ron? Yeah, so if it's a restart. So we're looking at anywhere from 3 to 14 days. And then if there's a denial, which very often is, you restart the clock into another cycle, right? So 2 weeks to get that approved.
Sometimes I see clients go through 3 cycles before they get anything approved.
Very interesting. Yeah. Give me some ideas of so someone calls you, right? They say, hey, look, I got this call from these 17 people trying to make me switch. What do you do? How do you look into what's important for them specifically?
See, when I get a client, I usually look at this. Usually when they sign up for a Medicare Advantage plan, it's because they have a friend who said that they're fine. You know, Medicare Advantage is fine. I have no problems. And you're not going to have a problem when you're healthy, right? So Medicare Advantage plan, when you're healthy and you're really only going to the doctor once a year to get a checkup, you're going to love it. You're not paying and you're not using it. But the moment you really need to use it, it does have the flaws.
Tell me more.
So I usually tell my client like this. There's nothing like having traditional Medicare when your health is not at its best, right? If you need to go through like the best cancer places, the best doctors, you need to get to the rehab you want to get to choose your cardiologist, not the one that the doctor wants to send you to. You can actually choose the one you want to go to. Mm-hmm. It's like the freedom and the quality that you're going to get with traditional Medicare is much better than you're going to get into a Medicare Advantage plan. And then it becomes a cost thing. I think a lot of time it becomes a cost. Can you make that monthly premium for the supplement plan? Or do you want to go for this free product? But it's really not free. People think Medicare Advantage plan is free. There is no monthly premiums. But the moment you are having health issues on those Medicare Advantage plan, there is something called maximum out-of-pocket cost. And the maximum out-of-pocket cost on those plans, on the HMOs, you have some companies that's maybe a couple $1,000 maximum out-of-pocket. But the PPO plans, those maximum out-of-pocket is $10,000.
Wow.
So it's not like you're not going to pay. You're going to pay later on when you use it, but then much more than if you would just pay the monthly premium. Mm-hmm. And that's where people call me. They're on this Medicare Advantage plan, and now they're going through health issues, and it's becoming a nightmare, and their out-of-pocket cost is so expensive. And they're like, Juliana, I need to get back into traditional Medicare, and I have to give them the bad news.
What is the bad news?
You can't.
Why?
Why? Because you have to pass underwriting health questions.
And how long does that take, and what does that process look like?
The underwriting health questions means, like, for you to go back to traditional Medicare and be able to qualify for a Medigap or Medicare supplement, there's a list of underwriting health questions. You answer yes to one of those health questions, they're going to deny you. you will not be able to come back.
So you don't have do you have a choice, or you have to follow a certain algorithm and answer questions, and only then? Like I say, I want to switch. I don't care what these questions
You don't
say.
have that option. There are certain special enrollment situations where I can bypass those underwriting health questions. And that's usually when, like, for example, open enrollment is coming around, right, in October. Right around September.
And we're filming in August.
Yes,
this is August of 2026.
Yeah, so let's say in October, usually in September, people are going to get their letter from their current Medicare Advantage plan notifying what the copays are going to look like for the next year, like their premiums, their pretty much their summary of benefits of everything that's going to happen and the changes that Medicare Advantage plan will have for 2027, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, a lot of time you might be receiving a letter notifying you that your plan is no longer available for you for 2027. We're seeing a lot of the PPO plans be discontinued. When you get that letter that your plan is discontinued, it doesn't matter what your health looks like. You're able to switch back to traditional Medicare and add that Medigap, and I can bypass those.
But that's if a plan gets discontinued.
That is if a plan. It doesn't happen very often, but yes.
You know what's interesting? So everybody knows Amazon, right? And everybody knows Jeff Bezos.
Right.
And I was actually listening to him one time, and he said something interesting. He said, in life, there are two type of decisions. Mm-hmm. There's a one-way door decision, that the door, it opens, you walk in, once it closes, you can't walk back, right?
Right.
And then there's two ways where you open and it's still, you can walk back.
Right.
So based on what you're telling me, like if I don't have a choice and I listened to that person who called me and they didn't tell me the real story. Look, if you tell me the real story, I'm okay with it.
Right.
But if I don't know the real story, I walk into that door and I can't walk back. That's a problem.
That's a problem.
You know, so one of the other things that is interesting, like we participate in the guide model, and the guide model is guiding an improved dementia experience. Mm-hmm. This is a new Medicare program that we are able to pay for a private duty home care agency to come to your home and take care of your mom, so you're the caregiver, you're the daughter, you could be here today with me on the podcast.
Right.
If you are in a Medicare Advantage plan, you cannot get this program. Right. So again, very important that you guys listen to and understand what the decisions you're making are, because some of them have a one-way door. Now, let's say I'm calling you and I tell you, Juliana, I want to know, walk me through your process. You're going to tell me, I'm on the phone with you right now. I need your help in making a decision. What type of questions are you going to ask me, and how are you then going to decide or recommend what's best for me? Usually, hey, Juliana, how are you? Listen,
how are you?
Good. Listen, Aetna wants me to go on their Medicare Advantage plan.
Usually I ask, do you have any idea how Medicare works? Right?
I have no clue, and you've explained that already today.
So technically, I'm going to go over every single parts of Medicare with a person, and I'm going to show them two paths of choice that they have, which is the traditional Medicare, where they add the Medigap supplement plan, and then they're adding a separate prescription drug plan, or if they go an Advantage plan, because they're going to hear tons of news about, all the mailers, all the friends, all the TV, what that's involved, what the costs associated with is, and the pros and the cons of both.
So you're going to educate. How long does that take?
About an hour.
So you educate for 1 hour.
1 hour.
So they're fully informed.
Fully informed.
Once you've educated, that's more like...
Then it's in your hands, because whatever you choose, I don't like to make a recommendation. You choose, because whatever you choose, it's going to be your consequences.
Do you ask me what my medications are, who my doctors are? So you kind of educate, and then you go into my world.
Right. Usually before I even talk to you, you already emailed me your doctor's list and your medications. Yeah, so that way I can show you both routes.
And what it will be like financially.
Like with your doctors and everything. Mm-hmm. And then you make a decision. I explain the pros and the cons of both. I don't want to make a recommendation, because when it comes down to when you are ill and all of a sudden I have clients who called me, Juliana, they denied my colonoscopy. They denied my endoscopy. MRIs. We're getting a lot of denials for like things that used to be approved.
Right.
Well, it's like, listen, remember I told you if you went on the other plan, it's not, you can't come back to me, because I told you if you're saving the money, and the only way to bypass these prior authorizations for these plans, it would have been if you were on the other plan.
That's
so if you're still healthy enough to switch, I'm like, well, you're still healthy enough, to switch back, and we can switch back, but you would have to pay. Or if not, I'm so sorry. Right now, you don't qualify to come back unless maybe possibility if you get a discontinued plan letter in the mail in September. Or sometimes if you live in a different state and you're in an Advantage plan, let's say in Georgia, and you're moving to Florida, guess what? That gives you like a 60-day window period to also change back to traditional Medicare with not an issue. No underwriting health questions.
Now, people, as you can see, this is a super important conversation. I believe this is one of those decisions that you make that can technically make or break you, right? Think about that. That colonoscopy that you need is denied. So people, I'm sure, are watching this and they're saying, wow, Juliana, we would like to know, well, do you charge for your service, right?
No, I do not charge for my services. My services are completely at no cost. So
at no cost.
Right.
So if people watching there, right, and I know there's different organizations, like in the state of Florida, there's Shine, SHINE.
Right.
There's Juliana. There's organizations that they don't really move you to a Medicare Advantage or to this way or the other. They really listen to you and they find out what is best for you. So people are listening today and they're saying, Dr. Erik, I want to reach out to Juliana. I want to talk to her because I have a loved one and I don't know which way to go.
Right.
What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Well, they can call me.
I'll have you talking to
Mike. Yes. So they can call me and my number is 954-802-3560. They can go to my website, which is coastalhealthcaregroup.com.
So coastalhealthcaregroup.com. And boys, we're going to put that up on the screen, right? So that folks are able to see it right over here. Coastalhealthcaregroup.com.
Right.
Okay.
You can go there or you can call me. And Juliana Souza, I'm happy to, always give you a consultation, review your options, review your situation and kind of guide you if there's any changes are possible.
That's incredible. And I want to tell the audience, I always tell folks about this, the definition of trust. It's very hard to trust somebody. Right. And I've heard the CEO of LinkedIn say this. The definition of trust is consistency over time.
Right.
Where over time, you tell me you're going to show up at 8 a.m. and you show up at 8 a.m. for a year. I'm going to trust that after that year, you're going to show up.
Yes.
So we've been working with Juliana because, again, we participate in the guide model. And a lot of times we have folks call us and say, we want the guide model. We want to be involved, but we're in a Medicare Advantage plan. And now we're needing all these pre-authorizations. Can you help us? I trust, because consistently over time, Juliana has given unbiased advice to folks who I refer. So if you're interested, I hope this was very, very helpful to you. That's the reason why we have the Straight Talk with Dr. Erik. I also would say for folks listening, we have something called thedementiatimes.com. And this actually will be on thedementiatimes.com. It's a newsletter along with a video like this that our viewers watch. So if they want to know about switching from Medicare Advantage back to Medicare, from Medicare to Medicare Advantage, this newsletter will be there and it will have everything. So thedementiatimes.com. I also highly recommend that you guys subscribe to our channel, comment, and listen, if you're a caregiver, you're not alone. People like Juliana, like myself, our organizations, we're here for you. Just reach out to us. Any final words, Julianne?
Choose wisely. When you're turning 65, right, you're dealing with a lot of the dementia. A lot of time, it's too late to make a change, right?
Correct.
Or unless you're moving or your plan gets discontinued. But those of you enrolling into Medicare the first time, your Medicare decision is so important because I see the nightmare when you're older and people sometime at 65 think, I'm super healthy, Juliana. I really don't need to pay. This is what I get a lot, the questions. People answer this. And I'm like, you know what? This is the season of your life where you're going to use healthcare the most because your body will break down eventually. You need to be able to have the right coverage to have a decent, quality care. I think it makes a difference in how you age.
I love that. Yeah. Choose wisely. And that's very, very well. Yes. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure. I want to thank you. I know you came from Boca.
Yes, I came from Boca.
Yeah, you came here to the Alan B. Levan Innovation Center where we are recording this session today, an incredible theme park for entrepreneurs. And I'm very, very blessed to have you on the show. And I look forward to having you on another episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Bye.